President Obama has called him a lion of American history. I'm always honored to call him my guest. Please welcome Vice President Joe Biden. Well, Mr. Vice President, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
Oh, Joe Biden, everybody. Nice to see you again.
Now'd be a good time to leave. Thank you very much.
Donald Trump is the President of the United States, spoiler alert, and the last time you were here was in December after President Trump was president-elect and before he'd been inaugurated, and you said at the time, oh, we're going to give this guy an even shot. We're going to give him a clear shot to do the job. Have we given him enough of a shot at this point?
Look, there are certain things that when they occur, you just can't remain silent. And Charlottesville, for me, was a moment where I thought silence would be complicity. I mean, for real. And so I wrote an article for Atlantic and talking about we're in a battle for the soul of the country. And the idea that you would see in America, in a historic city, Nazis carrying flags, spouting the same exact bile about Jews that was spouted in Germany in the 30s, and then these guys crawling out from under rocks with torches, and to not have an outright flat condemnation of that is, look, David Brooks talks about this invisible moral fabric that holds up society. And leaders' impact on how that is perceived. And I thought the silence was deafening. And then when the comparison was made to those who were protesting it, I found it reprehensible. So I couldn't remain silent anymore. It was just it goes to the soul of the country. And it's not just the president. It's all that surrounds this. And Bannon and the alt-right, I find to be reprehensible. I mean, the inability to condemn hate is...
Do you think... One of the things that many people said when President Trump was elected, that we have to hold on to certain standards and we cannot normalize the behavior that got President Trump elected. But on another level, whoever is the president is, de facto presidential.
Yes.
What do you think has changed about the presidency with him being president? How will this influence future presidencies?
I think it will, God willing, it will go down as the single exception in American history. I really mean it. Look, I think that a lot of the folks in the audience, my guess is, when the president was elected and the people he gathered around him, the political people he gathered around him, came into play, you kind of thought it was, well, maybe it's amusing or a little bit, embarrassing sometimes, but it didn't go to the heart of who we were. But I'll lay you 8-5, and I've been speaking to a large crowd of Republican audience out in Thousand Oaks, California, and asked the same question. I said, how many of you are now worried about the stability of the republic? How many of you are now worried about this new phony nationalism and it's us against them? How many are worried about this populism that is designed to essentially undermine the essence of the Bill of Rights, which is there's certain inalienable rights that nobody, no matter what the majority is, they cannot overrule? I mean, I just think there's an attack on the system. I think people are worried. And by the way, and it goes beyond President Trump. In my view, it's I just think it's look, but for 74,500 votes or thereabouts, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd have a good president. We'd have a president who understands the role of the presidency. She would have been somebody who would, in fact, weave that fabric.
Well, I agree with you.
Stephen, the only point I'm making is we're talking about like this was a wave election, and somehow...
Only he is. Only he's talking like that. Nobody said I could win. Nobody said.
Well...
Biggest electoral victory of all time. Of all time, Joe. Of all time. I'm sorry your lady lost, but the biggest of all time.
Well...
Wanna play golf? I play golf with all kinds of people. Is that disturbing? Is it disturbing? Does he ever call you? Does he call you? Has he ever called you?
No, but I do speak to Vice President Pence.
Oh, that's nice. What do you guys talk about?
Well, we talk about, he's asked my view on a number of issues. I spent a lot of time in dealing with foreign policy, and I had responsibility for certain chunks of the world. And he is, I've let him know in a security setting what I thought they should look out for, what I thought the landmines were, what I thought...
So he's like saying, I'm going to Spain. What do I need to know about my counterparts over there?
But, well, not directly like that, but we've talked...
I'm going to a country where they speak Spanish.
Part of what this transition is, Jill and I called him and had his wife and he over for dinner, or actually for lunch, to let him see the facility they're going to move into, talk about Secret Service coverage. He told me, for example, his daughter was going off to law school, going to have Secret Service coverage. She never had that before. What was it like? So I had my granddaughter, who's at Columbia Law School, call her to tell her what it was like having Secret Service all the time. So it's just basic courtesy.
Oh, that's nice. It's nice to know that you guys can communicate and help each other like that. Well, we have to take a little bit of a break, but we're right back.